Releasing a new product is a piece of cake, right? You get your current product, make a few slight and maybe unnecessary changes, add a character or two to the name and voila! How innovative. But what if it's more than a marketing gimmick? What if these additional characters do bring something new? And what if this new is put on top of something truly epic? Look, a perfect example. In World of Tanks, it's inevitable that vehicles will be compared to others that rolled off the production line before them. The E-100 was likened to the Maus, the 140 to the T-62A, and the Golden Type 59 was compared to Flavor Flav. But when a new tank actually bears the name of an old one, it reaches a whole new level. In our case, this vehicle has a lot to live up to thanks to a trio of characters, I, S, and 3. Together, you'd be forgiven for thinking they're brothers. Well, maybe cousins. Maybe one of them has lost his hair, but that doesn't matter. After all, they share more than a similar look. The specs of the IS-3A, aka the Soviet Vin Diesel, are similar to the standard IS-3. The dynamics are pretty much the same, and so is the armor. It still has those side skirts, that pike nose, the "you shall not pierce" turret, everything to remind you of the classic Tier VIII Heavy. However, there is one crucial difference. It's not just IS-3. It's IS-3A. Sounds like this guy did pretty well in high school. Jokes aside, it's an IS-3 with an auto-reloader. You heard that right, an IS-3 with an auto-reloader. Sounds weird, doesn't it? I mean, what will be next? A wheeled Maus? Or an arty firing AP shells? But maybe just to be quirky, it's not your standard auto-reloader. Our Mr. Statham features the so-called inversed auto-reloader system. Just like the Italian tanks, shells are loaded sequentially. But again, here it's a little bit different. Actually, thinking it over, it's completely different. Using the Progetto as an example, each shell takes less time to load. With the IS-3A, it's actually the first round that loads the fastest. This is how it works. They say, when on the battlefield, do as the Italians do, or something like that. If you ride a Progetto, make sure you always keep 2 shells locked and loaded. Simply shoot and wait, but stay alert. You might need to use French autoloader tactics later. Sounds okay in theory, but God, it's tempting to spit out those 2 shells. Our bold brother is totally different. He won't test your patience. There's just one simple rule to remember. When there's a shell ready, fire. Your DPM won't suffer. A bold assassin. I think I've seen this before. Anyways, As for the gun's remaining specs, they're Soviet to the core. Great armor penetration with both standard and special shells. Check. No gun depression. Check. Large gun No. Painfully large gun dispersion? Check. It should come as no surprise that this tank was made for close quarters combat. Does this vehicle seem oddly familiar to you? Yes, it's a Soviet with an auto-reloader, and yes, it's got a reverse auto-reloader. But surely there's got to be more differences between this IS and his brother. It can't just be the hairstyle or lack thereof. Well, the answer is pretty simple. They're not actually that different. For IS-3 veterans, the IS-3A will feel like a home away from home, well, as far as characteristics are concerned. You won't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to tactics or playstyle. It's the same old IS-3 we all know and love underneath. But there's a trick. What you get from the reverse auto-reloader is a situational advantage. Our bold lad is often better prepared. Your first shell will be ready within 12 seconds, a decent stat, and it means that in a firefight, the IS-3A can behave exactly like its brother. But one key advantage you've got is the 2 extra shells in the chamber before the shootout even begins. That's right, with its poorer mobility, it'll take more time for the IS-3A to take up position, but it will get there with a fully loaded auto-reloader, ready to deal up to 800 damage. That means you could take away more than half of your enemy's HP before the shootout even gets going. But it's more than a head start. Changing your position, waiting for enemies, staying still for whatever reason, it's not wasted time. It's extra damage. Yes, it's countered by mediocre stabilization and dynamics. And yes, that level of dispersion becomes a challenge for applying your ammo efficiently. But it's the price you must pay to hold the IS-3A's trump card up your sleeve: unpredictability. You may have 1 shell in the chamber, or 2 or 3. You'll know, but your enemy won't. The only way the enemy will know how many you've got left is if you spit them all out in front of them. If they've not been counting, you can witness something genuinely pleasing: your rivals squirming in fear. After all, who in their right mind would take on a tank with 800 bonus damage in their holster? They'll be cowering, hesitating, leading with their bashful noses. And you'll be ready. Because you're always ready. The IS-3A isn't an easy tank to play if you're not an IS-3 veteran. It's based on time-tested gameplay, but with a little twist. It's a revived classic, like a Ford GT40 with a modern touch. It doesn't have the vulnerability of a regular auto-reloader with an empty chamber. It's got the DPM perfect for a shootout. It's a tank that can find an advantage even when stationary. It's an A+ IS. And it's ready to kick some.